Welcome to AHRC TV's Weekly Roundup. I'm Basil Fernando. In this week's program, we cover the presentation of the Right Livelihood Awards in Stockholm, Sweden. The Right Livelihood Award, also known as the Alternative Nobel Prize, was established in 1980 with the purpose of honoring and supporting those offering practical and exemplary answers to the most urgent challenges facing us today. This year, the Right Livelihood Award recipients are Basil Fernando and the Asian Human Rights Commission, Pakistan's leading human rights lawyer Asma Jahangir, prominent climate activist Bill McKibben and his organization 350.org, Guardian editor Alan Rusbridger, and government surveillance whistleblower Edward Snowden. AHRC TV was in Stockholm to cover the events and bring you exclusive interviews with Basil Fernando and Asma Jahangir.
It is very encouraging to see that a lot of people from Sweden has come, parliamentarians and others. Of course, I look at it as an occasion to get our basic message across to many people that there are very serious problems regarding human rights in our part of the world, and basically a new way of approaching this problem in the human rights movement is needed. We need a new frontier in human rights, particularly in terms of institutional changes, police, prosecution, judiciary, improvement of justice system.
The award jury recognizes Basil Fernando and the Asian Human Rights Commission for tireless and outstanding work to support and document the implementation of human rights in Asia. It is with very great pleasure that I present the 2014 Right Livelihood Award to Basil Fernando and the Asian Human Rights Commission.
Together with his colleagues at the Asian Human Rights Commission in Hong Kong, this human rights lawyer was instrumental in building a continental movement that reveals human rights abuse, advocates solutions, scrutinizes public institutions, and attempts to fix serious flaws in the justice systems of Asian societies. He has empowered countless victims of human rights violations to transform themselves into human rights defenders. And he has bridged the gap linking ordinary citizens at the grassroots to institutions working for the structural reform of the criminal justice system at the policy level in 12 countries in Asia.
The reception of the Right Livelihood Award, both for myself as well as for the organization I represent, the Asian Human Rights Commission. Some 2 decades ago, the Asian Human Rights Commission was confronted with the problem of widespread impunity in most Asian countries where perpetrators of such grave crimes such as enforced disappearances, extrajudicial killings, torture and ill treatment, and sexual abuse of women, and many other forms of such human rights, were able to get away without any legal consequences. We felt helpless. Then we posed ourselves a question and posted that question in the wall of our office. That question was, what can we do when it appears that nothing can be done? I realized that the laws in the books does not by themselves protect people. We had plenty of such laws. However, what protects people are the functional institutions of a democracy, of a rule of law system. The functioning policing system, functioning prosecutor system, and a functioning judicial system is what is needed to protect people. We also observed that the beneficiaries of this system of justice were the criminals. When the criminals benefits from this type of policing, prosecution, and judiciary, every aspect of life becomes directly and indirectly criminalized, and the culture of fear prevails everywhere. It is this problem of justice system itself being a contributor to violence that has been the bewildering experience of most people in Asia, particularly the poor. Ladies and gentlemen, our message from the Asian Human Rights Commission is that we need a new frontier in the human rights field, particularly for developing countries. This frontier is the frontier of institutional reforms.
I met a lot of people, and more I saw a consensus that we need a new conversation on human rights. And this conversation should be concentrated on the institutional aspects of the rule of law. Basically, improvement of policing in a way that they could be able to implement the rights. They could respect the right against torture and extrajudicial killings. They could respect the right against illegal arrest and illegal detention. And they could create the background for fair trial. The same also with the judiciary and the enormous problems we have in terms of delays, corruption. All these are now to be made into a global discussion, not to discuss human rights in the abstract, merely in terms of universal norms, but the implementation of human rights, which was a challenge that Kofi Annan already raised, and so that everybody seems to be very, very eagerly agreeing on this, and that was also a very encouraging experience. People look into many aspects of human rights, some into issues like rights in the administration, or about issues like Dalit issues, which is an encouraging thing that the people here care about such things, and other issues of cultural relativism and all this. But all seems to agree at the end, we can make a difference if we really concentrate on the institutional issue.
The Right Livelihood Award jury honors Edward Snowden for his courage and skill in revealing the unprecedented extent of state surveillance violating basic democratic processes and constitutional rights. Edward Snowden would have liked to be with us here today, but he was prevented from participating because of the risk it involves for him to leave Russia at this moment. So, Mr. Snowden, your Right Livelihood Award is waiting for you. We trust that Sweden will make it possible for you to collect your award here in Stockholm in person in the very near future.
Thank you so much. You know, I'm far underqualified for this kind of audience. It is an extraordinary privilege to be counted among so many around the world who have fought for human rights, even at great personal cost, even when it was hard, even when no one was watching, when they weren't seeking recognition, and when they never received it.
The jury celebrates Asma Jahangir for defending, protecting and promoting human rights in Pakistan and more widely, often in very difficult and complex situations and at great personal risk. It is with very great pleasure that I present the 2014 Right Livelihood Award to Asma Jahangir.
Ladies and gentlemen, receiving an award is humbling, and these are also moments for reflection. I always have mixed feelings when being honored for my contribution towards the promotion and protection of human rights. We have made some gains, but we have a long way to go. Not only in Pakistan, but I think globally and the world over. When I was growing up under dictatorship in Pakistan, denial of freedom of expression and gender inequality was justified in the name of stability. Child labor was easily explained away as a necessary evil. Religious persecution and racism was easily tolerated. These ills have not disappeared, but they are widely condemned in most parts of the world, and including by many people in Pakistan as well. Well, naturally, every visibility that you are given or recognition that you are given gives more protection to you, gives a higher voice to you, and not only to myself, because this is not an award for me alone. It is symbolic of what the human rights people and the civil society of Pakistan has done. I am taking an award on their behalf because without them, I could not have worked in Pakistan. My experience as a woman lawyer has been, in one way, very rewarding because, as you know, that I was elected to the Supreme Court Bar Association, which is a very prestigious bar, the highest, and the first woman to be elected. With my views, my colleagues supported me despite the pressures from the establishment, from the judiciary, who didn't want to see me as president of the bar. But on the other hand, I think that there are these underlying prejudices. For example, women should only take up family cases. And I don't only take up family cases, and I'm again told that, you know, it doesn't look good that you're fighting this criminal appeal. You know, the man is in jail for murder and he's got death penalty. Well, I'm a lawyer like you are. Or to contest other kinds of cases or constitutional cases. But gradually people begin to recognize. It takes a long, long time. Then I have also noticed that if you're an obedient woman, then you can get places because your obedience is certified and they feel a bit comfortable. But if you're not the so-called obedient woman, then they would rather like to see you at a distance. And I have noticed that even today, for example, despite the fact that I am probably the only woman lawyer in Pakistan who has a regular practice in the Supreme Court and has done more cases than any other woman lawyer. And even otherwise, I have better credentials than many of the male lawyers. I'm not saying because I'm the best, certainly not, but I am amongst some of the better ones. But others will get what we call the title of senior advocate, who have hardly practiced. But when it comes to me, there is a kind of an unease which is quite ironical and to me quite amusing, because I'm really not even concerned about that title. But I'd like to bring it up every now and then to make the judges feel a bit uneasy about it.
The jury celebrates Alan Rusbridger for building a global media organization dedicated to responsible journalism and the public interest, undaunted by the challenges of exposing corporate and government malpractices. It is with very great pleasure that I present the 2014 Right Livelihood Honorary Award to Alan Rusbridger. The jury celebrates Bill McKibben and 350.org for mobilizing growing popular support in the USA and around the world for strong action to counter the threat of global climate change. It is with very great pleasure that I present the 2014 Right Livelihood Award to Bill McKibben and 350.
I did not realize, at the beginning, what a great family this is, and I'm really happy that such a thing exists. People of a variety of experiences, even this time awardees, one on environmental rights, one on the freedom of expression, and one on really challenging surveillance. And in the highest level, one of the most sensitive areas. And people on the, like in Pakistan, fighting. So this community getting together with the same one single objective, that the world should become a better place to live. And I used to think about it as a youth, as a big dream. Of course, I would have liked to have had the dream, but I now see it's not just a dream. It is something that many people share, and if the many people share, it's a possibility that exists. So I'm very happy to be, have been, involved, and therefore I'm grateful for those people who nominated me. That is from the EED. Although at that time we didn't realize what it is, at least I didn't, but I'm very happy because it means to be in contact with many people who could help us and whom we could help, and to build a better situation and a better discourse, a conversation. As I said again, a new frontier in the human rights discourse, and that is something that we will be happy about in doing.
For further information on the award and this year's recipients, please visit www.rightlivelihood.org. That is all for this weekly roundup. For more on these and other issues, please visit www.humanrights.asia. Thank you for watching and see you next week.